Okay, so if you're looking to buy a guitar, you're probably thinking, what things do I actually need to buy? So the most obvious thing you need to buy is the guitar itself. That's fairly self-explanatory, and I'll go through some more about that later on. When you're buying the guitar, you don't need to buy too many things, otherwise it can get expensive, but you will need a bag to put the guitar in. This shouldn't be too expensive. Try not to let it cost more than 20 or 25 pounds, but a lot of the times you can get the bag in with the guitar. You can ask the dealer if they would do you an offer for it. For the guitar itself, if it's going to be your first guitar, I'd be looking to spend no more than about 120. This one is from Music Minds, which has very good guitars at about that price. You can probably do cheaper though. You can probably look for the guitar and the bag to cost about 100, 110 maybe. If you want to go second hand, you can probably get a very, very good guitar for cheaper than that. So do have a look at the second-hand market. I will say if you're going to buy a guitar second-hand, then you should really go with someone else who can already play to make sure the guitar you're buying works and is in good condition. Okay, what else do we have? When you buy a guitar, yes, you'll want these Plectrums as well. Now I play some stuff with Plectrums and some stuff with my fingers, but you still want one of these. Now I use these ones which are called Jazz III Plectrums, but if you're just starting out, I would say buy a bunch of different ones and then find the ones that you like the best. You might not like the same ones I do. Definitely get one of these. This is called a capo, and you'll see on the doll parts videos that I did, the whole doll parts videos, that allows us to move where the start of the guitar is. So that's quite useful. We'll go through that in other videos. But I would say get one of them. If you're in Dublin, you can go to McCulloch Piggott's music shop in Dublin too, and they will sell you this exact one. It's called a Kaiser Classical Capo, and it has a screw mechanism, and you can get that for about less than €7. Very good, as good as you're going to need. Don't get an elastic cheap one because they're not very good, but you also don't need to be spending €20 on a really expensive one. Just get that one for less than €7 and that's good enough. Because I'm using an acoustic guitar where the strings are held in by these pegs, I also have one of these, and what this is for is you hook it round a bit like a ring pull, and then you use that to pull the strings out. You do that when you're changing the strings. Now if I'm going to change the strings, the first thing I'm going to do is loosen them at that side, because I don't want to pull that out and then have a string violently hit me in the face. So if you're changing strings on one of these types of guitars, do that end first, loosen that before you do anything here. But this is just a useful tool. It's not essential. It's just called a string puller, I think, or a peg puller, something like that. What you are going to want is a spare set of strings, because you need to change strings every so often, or a string might break. So what I do, I always have a spare set of strings, and I also have an extra thin E string. So what we call our first string here, this E string, I always have an extra one of those because that's the one that's most likely to snap. If it does, I've got a spare string here, so I don't need to break into a full pack of strings just to replace one string. So that's an option. If you're buying new strings, at the same time you buy the guitar, ask the person who's selling you the guitar what type of strings are on it. You can see this is called a gauge. Ask them what gauge of strings are on it. So I know that that's my smallest string, 0.012, and my biggest string is 0.053. When I look on the back, it will actually tell me what all the measurements are. So my first string is 12, that's 0.012. My second string is 16, third is 24, fourth is 32, fifth is 42, and then my sixth string is 53, which is the same as this 0.053. So I know what all the measurements of all my strings are. So if anything breaks, I can replace it with the exact same string, and that's going to mean my guitar is going to stay in tune better. The way my guitar feels isn't going to change because the strings are exactly the same pressure on the guitar. So that's very important. Ask what strings are already on your guitar and get another set of the same strings, and that'll help you out a lot. I also have cloths, ordinary cleaning cloths, and that's just because when you play the guitar for a long time, you might get dirt on the strings. I always wash my hands before I play, but you might get dirt on the strings or on the wood, and that just allows me to wipe it down when I'm finished. This does the same thing. I also have some of this, which I would recommend. It's called Fast Fret, and it's just a small thing that you move onto the guitar, and that puts an amount of cleaning liquid on it, and then afterwards you wipe it off, and that just helps you to keep the guitar clean. There are some other things, but they're not too essential. Those are the main things. If you're wanting to keep it really minimal, obviously buy the guitar, buy the bag, get some plectrums, and get some spare strings. That's the minimum, but I would say get the capo as well. This isn't so essential. This is nice, but you don't need it straight away. Cleaning cloths you should have anyway. Spare last string, not too essential. I would say this is the minimum you want to have. Plectrums, get the guitar dealer to give you some free ones. If you're buying a guitar, try not to pay for them. They should be able to afford giving you some cheap plectrums. But get the guitar, get the bag, get the spare strings, and get one of those capos. But as I say, McCulloch Pigotts in Dublin will do this one for less than €7. Don't let anyone sell you an expensive one for €20. You don't need it. This is all you need. But the main thing is make sure you get a good guitar.